Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. This is the America First Pill channel. So I need to talk about Tucker Carlson because Tucker Carlson caused some major controversy. Usually it's nonsense. Usually it's nothing worth going over. Usually it's over petty stuff, taking him out of context, slandering him, trying to write him out. But this one, he kind of really triggered some people. And even, when another popular commentator of the movement like Steven Crowder has to kind of talk about it, it's definitely something to think about. So, Tucker Carlson clearly he does not agree with Trump's decision to strike Iran and believes that he does not think that this conflict is in our interest. I guess largely because he doesn't think that this conflict is about solely preventing Iran from having a weapon, but more about trying to regime change in order to spread democracy and the same neocon Bush wing of intervention. And also he believes it's on, a lot of people believe it's on Israel's behalf because Bibi wanted it. That's kind of what Tucker his concerns has been and why he opposed the strikes. So, I don't know. I've been trying to look at some angles on this. I've been kind of scolded to look at a different angle on this. And I understand Tucker's concern, and I understand why we should be skeptical. There is effects when we have this, and the effects could always be worse than we can turn out worse. So we do need to be skeptical, okay? And I'm going to give this 2 months, meaning, no, let's see, it's March, so maybe by May. If this is not over by May, as Trump gave the time frame, we may have a problem. We may need to have a different conversation. So, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, kind of tune out the different perspectives. So what did Tucker say? Okay. Tucker says something about trying to interpret what Trump meant by unconditional surrender. So here we go.
One consistent lesson of history means unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter. Everyone can feel that. That's like the most atavistic instinct there is. And so to avoid that, people will do anything.
Not to me or to the Iranian people.
So that's why it requires that level of force to get a population subdued to the point of unconditional surrender. That's why. And so in this case, of course, we don't have the ground force necessary. I don't think Americans would voluntarily participate in it. I just don't think we can do that. It would require weapons of mass destruction. It would require presumably nuclear weapons in order to do that. And let's not lie to ourselves. We're moving toward that.
Okay. So I think he's right that if Iran really made this difficult to unconditional surrender, meaning if Trump clearly meant just, surrender, this doesn't have to get ugly, but, if Iran wanted to make this ugly, like really ugly, because it could this involve them having to drop a nuke? Will Iran go so cold that the United States will have no choice but to drop a nuke like they did in Japan? Because Japan wouldn't surrender. They wanted unconditional surrender there, and they wouldn't. They were so cold. It was like almost like you could almost want to compare. I don't know if you wanted to compare it to like Pharaoh in the Bible when he would not let Moses. He would not let God's people go, as Moses kept saying, and you had a bunch of plagues, and before you know it, it took the son, the angel of death, to take his son to where he finally let him go. God hardened Pharaoh's heart, but think about that. So could it get so bad that the United States has no choice but to use a nuclear weapon? I don't think we're quite there yet. Tucker's being kind of a doomer there, but But for sure, that's something to think about. But on the part with the raping the children, like I don't understand where he went with that. I want to believe he meant something else, but it looked like he took a shot at veterans, and a lot of people are upset about it, and I understand it. At best, it was poorly worded, but he looked really sincere what he was saying. And I have to say, no, I did not know that actually historically. Now, yes, I know historically it's common that when a country invades another country, yes, the invaders will often rape the women and children as a form of terror and conquer. And it's also a way to spread genetics because they want to spread their genetics. I mean, think about it. Genghis Khan, the leader of the Mongols, I think there's 18 million descendants. That's at least something I've heard alive today that go to chase back to the Mongols. Where do you think that came from? All the conquers they did. So, but that's not what Trump is doing here, though. Trump's not trying to take over the country. So, why would he say that troops would go to that extent to form unconditional surrender? That's a mystery to me that I can't answer because Tucker did not do a good job providing context. So until he can confirm, people are just going to assume that he took a shot at veterans and then have to assume he just is unhinged because he doesn't like the decision Trump made. So I don't know. I mean, I've been a pretty big avid fan of Tucker. I generally defend him. And I generally think the attacks on him are just ridiculous. No, I'm not going to disavow him from the movement because of a stupid statement. But a lot of people, are not happy with this statement. And I definitely think that while Tucker is very popular and he will get popular, he's not really popular right now with the traditional mainstream Republicans right now. I know the boomer Republicans really haven't liked him for a while. But I think Gen X right now is kind of on thin ice, even more so now, particularly Gen X women. I don't think like him that much because of some of this, but I don't know. So yeah, that was a big one. And, unfortunately I can't defend Tucker on that one because, it looked unhinged and it sounded like he's trying to assume the worst possible outcome. That seems to be what he's trying. That's what his coverage of this conflict is about, is trying to assume the worst will happen. And I get it, the risk to happen. I understand that. But you just kind of made it harder for me to defend you, Tucker, for doing that. And, I just, we need to be careful. We have to we have to be real careful. That's all I can say. So now, I do want to report a few things and something that came out. Trump did announce that the war it could very well be coming to an end soon. So it's possible this can end a lot sooner than needing to. But I see a source right here that comes out saying from an AF Post, a news source, that says that, quoting Trump, saying, "I'm not sure it's in our interest to fight until regime is toppled." Now, it also comes out, it says, Israeli officials are concerned about Iran war with the goal of regime change looking increasingly unfeasible. Well, yeah, that's the thing. And I think getting them to totally surrender may be unrealistic. So I feel like just that phrase alone is definitely going to make it harder for Tucker to walk back on what he said. Because, again, if you want them to unconditionally surrender and they make it hard, it may involve nuclear weapons. And without that, you may have to have ground troops. Now, I think nuclear weapons would be like the last resort. if it got real bad. But like the next option would be sending ground troops if Iran decided to make this real difficult, which, you know, there's concern if this would have to administer the draft. That's largely because Iran's a big country. I hope that would be bad if that happened, but I mean, I don't know. So it sounds like this war may end. Hopefully it does. We accomplished the goal. I do think if Trump pulls back on this and doesn't do regime change, I do think it's going to hurt the argument that Trump's controlled by Israel, because, you know, it's, you know, I know Israel wants regime change, but maybe even Israel realizes that's not realistic. So hopefully the goal will be, we've destabilized the Iran regime enough. We took out all their guys. I think I think they selected a new leader today. I think it's the son of the Ali guy, the leading guy. But, you know, Trump, of course, is on standby if he'll allow that or not, because of he's still part of that Ayatollah. Now, here's what I think Trump should do. And I think Trump needs to declare victory on this. Here's why. Iran's going to play tough talk. They're going to try to pretend, oh, they're all tough, but the country is weak. We obviously blew up their nuclear programs. We took out their missile program, and we obviously took out pretty much the whole Ayatollah. And I don't know if they're quite in a place yet where you can consider them a full threat now. Now, Trump clearly wants that entire group out, but this could be a better strategy, because it may be possible that with how weak the Ayatollah is right now, not having all their guys killed, it could fall on its own, and now you can potentially get a deal made where they don't have the nuke. So that, and I think also if Trump declares victory, I think that would also look better on his resume. And for 2026 midterms, it helps cool the fire, but also it helps him not feed the media that he just surrendered. Because right now that's going to be the medium. Oh, he surrendered after he told them to surrender. So yes. So anyway, I don't know. But like I said, this was me trying to cover what Tucker said. I don't know. It's just, I guess I'm disappointed because I want people to like him and realize he has a lot of good points, but will people want to hear what he has to say now because of that? So I don't know. You know, we all do make mistakes. I guess my only encouragement for my listeners here is, I guess, give Tucker some grace. Show him some forgiveness for what he said. I know there's a lot of paranoia about this war, and people are concerned. So I don't know. It just, that's the most unhinged I ever saw Tucker, I guess. And that's even for me being a fan. So anyway, I do think that what it does show is Trump is always ahead of everybody on this. And I think people doubt Trump so quickly, and he always ends up with the last laugh. And I think that's why he kind of called Tucker out on this, because people don't trust the process, and when he's right, he can kind of rub it in. So I don't know. So I'm hearing that we're not even close to the point of having ground troops yet. And if there's one person who can probably get Iran to fully surrender, it would be him. And I'm still kind of figuring out where I stand on the war. I think you want Trump to be the one to deal with this, because you definitely don't want, because if Trump was not in charge right now and we had a Democrat for sure, or a rhino neocon, I mean, we'd be in big trouble. So we need Trump to end this conflict, deal with it now, so that way we can hopefully get peace in the Middle East, and we can kind of put this to bed now that we did what we were doing. So anyway, that's where I stand for now. But anyway, if you like this video, please like, Let me know what you think. I guess, I mean, what do you, I guess my question is, what do you think Trump should do if Iran were not to unconditionally surrender the easy way? So if they were to make this difficult, what should Trump do? Because obviously the military is not going to hurt people, and that's what people are upset about. That would never happen. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Like this channel and subscribe if you like this channel. Anyway, the Banner for First Pill channel out.